about the situation in the Middle East. This was before the Iranian attack occurred, and so we'll get that out momentarily. Broadly speaking, though, again, in terms of any European coordination or cooperation with Israel, that's really for individual countries to talk to. I won't speak to them. Let me go to the phone real quick before I get in trouble. Task and Purpose, Jeff Schogel.
Thank you. I understand that the destroyers fired about a dozen interceptors. Did they hit any of the missiles? If so, how many?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. So again, we're, as you highlight, they fired the interceptors. We're still assessing, again, outcomes of that. So I can't really, I just don't have more information to provide at this time. Okay, let me go to Heather from USNI.
Hi, thank you so much. So you mentioned that the United States has the ability and intent to respond if any of its service members are attacked. Over on Friday, you had two U.S. destroyers and a LCS come under attack from the Houthis. Which is an Iranian proxy group. So would that give, is there any intention to launch any attacks in response to those service members coming under attack?
Well, first of all, Heather, as you are aware, there were no U.S. service members injured in any of those attacks. And as always, we will respond appropriately at a time and place of our choosing, but I'm not going to telegraph or speculate on any punches at this time. All right, and Patrick Tucker, Defense One.
Hey, thanks for doing this. So on the announcement of 3 additional aircraft squadrons, F-15s, F-16s, A-10s, I presume that they weren't involved in any of the interception activity. Can you talk a little bit about why they're there and what role they might fill now in terms of enhancing security for U.S. forces in the region?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we've been highlighting for a while, we have a robust amount of capability in the Central Command and U.S. European Command regions. And what those capabilities provide us is versatility in terms of responding to a variety of contingencies. And so, basically having the right tools in the toolkit to be able to respond appropriately to any type of attack or contingency situation. And so, as you well know, Pat, fighter aircraft can perform a variety of missions to include taking down drones, taking down missiles, particular kinds of missiles, as well as providing ISR, electronic warfare, and types of capabilities. So all of this comes together to provide us with options on how best to respond to any type of attack and to protect our forces. Let me come back to the room here. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, General. First, on Iran, after today's attack and the expected response from Israel, is the assessment at the Pentagon still that the situation in the Middle East still under control and we're not in all-out war yet? And the second question on Lebanon, excuse me, what's your understanding to what Israel is calling limited ground operations or incursion? Is it limited by, in time, in scope? How do you see this?
Sure. So in terms of your first question, as you know, we've been working very hard from the beginning to prevent a wider regional conflict. Certainly the type of aggressive action that we saw by Iran today makes that more challenging. But that continues to remain our focus and remain our goal, is to prevent a wider regional conflict. And so we'll continue to stay laser focused on that. In terms of Israel's operations, again, they're in the best position to answer questions. But our understanding in consulting with them is that, again, these will be limited operations focused on cities that Hezbollah has built along the border to stage attacks into Israel. And so, part of those discussions, again, have been focused on making sure that there's an understanding as far as potential mission creep. And so, as it relates to the broader tensions in the region. But again, we support their right to defend themselves from Hezbollah attacks. And so we'll continue to consult with them on that. As I mentioned, Wafa, ultimately, we do believe that a diplomatic resolution is the only way to achieve lasting stability and security there. A few more. Phil.
A couple small questions. One is, why weren't land-based air defenses used? And did you find that you had, did the United States have fewer partners?
I would compare it to a pallet, Phil. You're going to use the capability that you need to respond to a particular situation. So, as evidenced by the fact that our forces were able to so quickly support Israel's defense, we have a wide range of capabilities arrayed to be able to respond to whatever those threats may be in the most appropriate way possible. So it's less about the platform and it's more about the capability. Again, we still maintain a robust capability to be able to respond to any potential future threats as well.
And I just want to follow up on what Helene was asking, which was important in the sense, I think you said a red line that if Iran or its forces were to attack U.S. troops, there would be a U.S. response against Iran. At least that's what it sounded like you were saying. Is that correct?
What I said is it should be very clear that if Iran or its proxies use this as an opportunity to attack U.S. forces, we will respond appropriately. Yep. Okay. Last question, Nat.
Thanks, Pat. I just wanted to clarify a few things that you said. In terms of Iran's capabilities going forward, is it clear from the U.S. side that the imminent risk is over of another attack from Iran?
Well, look, it's something we're going to keep an eye on. We certainly hope that there's not another attack, but obviously Iran maintains a capability, and it's just demonstrated that they're willing to use it to directly attack Israel. And so we're going to continue to consult closely with Israel on next steps, and importantly on the defense of Israel. So,
and on Israel's limited incursion, have they provided any sort of a timeline on how long they would stay there?
I'd refer you to Israel to talk about that. I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to talk about that. Hey, folks, while there's been an understandable focus today on the Middle East, before we conclude, I would like to provide a quick update on a topic closer to home as DoD continues to work with federal, state, and local officials to support Hurricane Helene response efforts. As of this morning, the department has more than 6,500 service members actively engaged in relief efforts across 6 states. Florida has nearly 3,500 guardsmen activated, and Georgia has around 1,400 guardsmen on duty. South Carolina has activated nearly 500 guardsmen, along with 2 helicopters for their recovery efforts. Tennessee has around 130 guardsmen and 7 helicopters activated, and Virginia has activated nearly 60 guardsmen, along with 1 helicopter and numerous high-water vehicles. Additionally, since the storm passed, North Carolina has emerged as an area of particular focus after the historical levels of flooding that occurred in the western part of that state. A multi-state, multi-agency effort is currently underway with more than 80 guardsmen and 13 helicopters from Connecticut, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Iowa, Ohio, New York, South Carolina, and Florida, joining more than 800 North Carolina guardsmen in providing support to devastated North Carolina communities. U.S. Northern Command is also providing active duty support efforts to FEMA, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is providing emergency power planning and response teams to Georgia, as well as dam, levee, and bridge inspection to Tennessee and Kentucky, and temporary power to North Carolina. For further questions about National Guard missions, I would encourage you to contact the specific states in questions. And for active duty support efforts to FEMA, U.S. Northern Command is standing by. For service-specific evacuation efforts, it's best to contact the services directly. As the DoD continues to aid response efforts, Secretary Austin and department leaders will continue to be engaged and stay in close contact with federal, state, and local officials to ensure resources are available and to maximize a coordinated response. And in the days ahead, the department will continue to keep our fellow Americans who've been impacted by this storm's devastation in our thoughts. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.